guys, how are you? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. As you know, we go on here and talk about real life topics to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. So today, I just was told we're going to have the best podcast ever. So I'm super excited. His name is Rob Cressy, and he helps creators and entrepreneurs do great things. So his purpose in life is to be a positive force for good, and that leads others into what's possible. And so you guys know that I love to talk about this kind of stuff. And so I go around the whole planet trying to find the best people to have on here. And I think I found one. So Rob, welcome. How are you?
I am doing incredible, Neena. And guess what? Why did I say that this was going to be the best podcast ever? Because it is the simplest thing ever. Why not set the intention that this will be the best podcast ever?
That's
because
absolutely
the
right.
chances are greater of it being the best podcast ever.
Awesome. And the truth is it is, right? Because this is the only moment me and you have, Rob. We're not promised later. We're not promised tomorrow. So every conversation that I have with people, I find to be so important because I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow, right? Like people always say, see you tomorrow. I'm like, well, if God's willing, I'll be here. It's like, but I was glad I woke up today, Rob, and I woke up in a good place. So it is really, really great to have you. And I would love to know a little bit more about you. So just quickly introduce us to who you are, and then let's take us on a journey.
So for me, I'm a coach, as you said, that helps people do great things. So I specialize in personal growth and self-mastery. And I think of myself as a creating coach. And creating is two parts. One part internal, your mindset, your heart set, your process for creating yourself into the best version of yourself. And at the same time, I'm also an expert in creating your brand, podcast, video, content, everything that you would want in the world, because that's the beauty of self-creation. We all have the possibility to create ourselves and anything we want in the world into anything that we want. So how about we create the mindset and the process internally and externally so we can make all of that happen?
That's good, because that sounds like a whole package deal, right? Because you're working not just on the internal, but the external. But that always puts a little question in my head of where did they come from that they are here now, right? Because a lot of times we get to this place where we do want to create a better mindset, a better mind flow, the way we do things in life, because we've been through some stuff, right, Rob? So are you open to sharing some stuff with us?
Wide open.
Awesome. Let's do it. I want to know, I don't know if maybe this was always your mindset. Maybe it has been. Was this always the way you thought? Always thought out, to forward thinking like that? Or was there things in your life that catapulted you into who you are right now?
Not even close. I am such a different human right now than I was 12 years ago. I mean, it is literally like different lives. Before growth mindset and after growth mindset, if we're going to give ourselves an acronym for this.
Right.
And I'll give the quick how this happened. So in college, my dream was to be creative and work for an ad agency, coming up with ideas and brainstorming and all of this. I had a degree in marketing. I'm like, boom, that's what I'm going to do. Well, guess what? I had no job for a year and a half out of college. I was broke. And then finally, I got my first job at a Fifth Third Bank call center, slinging home equity loans inbound in a cube farm, making $10 an hour. My computer did not have internet access. I had no email, and it was literally the last place on earth that I wanted to be. It was the opposite of my dreams, but at the same time, I was thankful to make $10 an hour because I was making $0 an hour. And I was pretty much Peter from Office Space. I was showing up 7 minutes late, leaving 7 minutes early, living for the weekends. And I did that for essentially 10 years straight in a variety of jump to new sales job because anyone can get a job in inside sales. But then all of a sudden, you finally just keep going. For me, it was the commute was closer. And then I would make more money, and then the commute was closer, and I just kept on jumping. But then a crazy thing happens. I actually got really good at what it is that I was doing in inside sales. Didn't mean that I loved it, but I was good at it. Right. And I got to the point where I said, I didn't wake up every single day looking forward to slinging banner ads and text links because I evolved to digital advertising sales, and I was making really good money. And I said to myself, I would regret it for the rest of my life if I didn't give it a shot at making my dreams happen. And because of that decision, boom, I cut the cord, burned the boats, and overnight went from making very good money to $0 again to live my dreams of building a self-created life.
Is that from Think and Grow Rich, the burning your boat thing?
It's
I heard that somewhere. Yeah.
It's an analogy I've been told numerous other times. I'm sure it came from Think and Grow Rich. I'm certainly not the originator of it. And essentially, it's a very simple concept that back in the day when countries are taking over other countries or other land, that if you're going to try and take an island, the number one thing that you can do is say, let's burn our boats, because then we only have two results. We either win or we lose. Well, the same mindset applies for creating a self-created life or entrepreneurship, that you never look back. And that's essentially what the analogy stands for, is you burn the boats so that all of a sudden it gets tough and you're like, well, let's just go jump in our boats real quick. That way we can get away from this uncomfortable thing that we're doing. We're all in, baby.
Yeah, I know. Like sometimes, even with my transformation too, I always had that boat, like the little dinghy tied, just waiting, just in case, That's so funny. So, what happened though? Like what kind of made you say, I'm going to burn the boats and do this? Was there something that was happening at work? Was there something happening emotionally? Like what was happening at that point to actually even make you want to pivot?
My dreams were attached to this. So at the time, in pretty much my entire life, my dream was to work in sports. So I had created sports blogs and wrote for sports for free for 10 years, didn't make a single dime. I just loved doing it. I was a sports fan. So I would just sit there and I would just create blogs. And I looked at the landscape and I was like, I am as good or better than everything that I see out there. And I knew I didn't want to live the rest of my life behind a computer doing something that I didn't love. And I had to know if I could do it. I just had to. And it was easier for me to take the leap than it wasn't. And a lot of people are like, well, isn't that risky? No, the bigger risk for me is not giving it a shot at making my dreams happen, because what I was taking off the table is regret. And I never wanted to live the rest of my life of, if I had only ... And that single sentence is game changing for everything of who I am right now. Because if you think about all of your decisions that you make on a daily basis, what are you willing to remove off the table? So a simple thing for me, and remember, I was not this person. So when I was at zero, I audited the success habits of the most successful people in the world, the people that I wanted to be like and aspire to do things like. I'm like, all right, what are their habits and routines and mindsets and actions? What are they doing? And one of the things was, a lot of CEOs were waking up early. They're waking up in the 4s and the 5s, and I'm waking up like comfortably at like 7:30 or 7:45. So over the course of a decade, I cultivated a habit of waking up early. And why did I do it? Not because it was in a book, because I wanted to take off the table, if I had only woken up earlier, ... as a reason why things did not happen. So I never have to live with the excuse of, I wish I had more time, because when we think about how we show up and walk around in this world, we have so many self-limiting beliefs and excuses that pop up. Well, what are you willing to do and live in action to remove an excuse so that it no longer exists? Well, for me, waking up early just means I never have to question at any point in my life, did I do enough from a time standpoint?
That's good, Rob. Wow. Just drop your mic and walk off. You're good to go. That's really, really good. I love that analogy too of like, taking something off the table. I talk a lot about what's on your table, taking off your table. And I love that. And so was that something that, was it hard for you? Like, what was it that got you over the hurdles, right? Because going from a person who wakes up at 7:30 to going from a person that maybe wakes up at 4 is very difficult, right? So how did you train yourself? Like, what was the training regimen you had to start doing these changes?
So what I'm about to say, a lot of these things are going to be uniform across the board. So think about building your own operating system for yourself, a process. So for me, I tried to go from 7:30 to 5:15, and I did it for a week, and it was not happening. I was a zombie because the change was too massive.
Right.
Because you're trying to be somebody else that you were not, and all of a sudden your sleep just goes shoo, and now your self-limiting voice is just sitting there being like, I'm so tired, I'm a zombie, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, all right, change doesn't have to be difficult. What's important is that change is growth oriented. And what a lot of people overlook is micro change and how compounding change over time leads to massive growth. The whole improve 1% better every single day. So I'm like, all right, the goal is just to wake up earlier. The goal is not 5 a.m. The goal is just wake up earlier, right? All right. So I went from 7:30 to 7:24. So I shaved off 6 minutes and I did it for a week because you know what you don't miss? 6 minutes. 6 minutes is enough where, boom, you could just wake up early one day and you're like, oh, I didn't miss those 6 minutes. So, boom, I did that for a week. I was like,
That's good. That's good.
I'm still here. I didn't die when I lost those 6 minutes. So then I shaved off 3 more minutes. So now it's at 7:21. And then it goes to 7:14. And over the course of 10 years, I went from 7:30 to sometime in the 5s, depending on what's going on in my lifestyle at that point. So when a lot of people say, how did you transform yourself? The answer is 3 to 6 minutes at a time over the course of years.
Oh, it's so good, right? Because I think one of the big issues that I'm seeing, even with my clients, you probably see this too, right? Is they want everything now. So they think they have to do like 50 steps today. And then they're overwhelmed, right? It's like I always say that we are inundated with information, but we're starving for wisdom. Right? Because there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff, Rob, right? So if you're in the self-help space, everybody and their mother has a course that'll get you to where you want to go in 5 days, right? So I think that what you're saying is so freaking good and so vital because, you know, that I expected you to say, oh, you know, from 7:30, I went to 7, but the 6 minutes is so freaking awesome and encouraging because anybody can do that. Anybody can do that.
Remember, I started at 0. So when I burned the boats, I had no relationships. I had no experience in the industry. No one knew that I existed. So for anyone to think that somehow I was special, opposite of it. Remember, I was dead broke without a job for a year and a half out of college, didn't do what I loved for 10 years, and then went back down to 0 again. So if I can do any of this stuff, anyone can. And then you think about, well, imagine applying this exact same concept to any area of your life that you want to improve. So another one of the game-changing moments in my life was around creating a reading routine. So once again, audited the success habits of the most successful people. The average CEO reads 60 books a year. And I'm like, crap, I'm reading 0. I think I want to get on this. But here comes everyone with the excuses again. But you know what, Rob? I just don't have the time. Or I've never done this before. Insert every reason for why you would not want to do that. So, all right, let's make this simple on ourselves again. So I realized if something is important enough, you will always find time to make it happen. So I saw that 60 books a year. I was like, I have to create a reading routine. This is a game-changing thing for me. So I've got to make sure that I do it. When is there always time to get something done? Literally first thing in the morning, AKA the first thing that you do. Well, why is that? Because there is nothing else stopping you if that's the first thing you do. And for me, my goal every day is to make today better than yesterday. And if I read for 30 minutes a day, every single day, first thing in the morning, by design, I've made myself better today than I was yesterday. So therefore, every single day, the first thing that I've done, I've already made myself better than I did the day before. And all it takes is 30 minutes a day. And you're like, is it that simple? All right, well, remember, I didn't read before. So I started reading books that I was interested in. And this doesn't mean that I was reading comic books. It was personal development, entrepreneurship, creativity, leadership, self-help, or so evolved, things that I was interested in. So as you mentioned, Think or Grow Rich may have been the first one, or Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. So like, I had to even learn what books should I be reading because I don't do
Right.
this. And someone's like, hey, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I'm like, all right. And what inevitably would happen is there would be a book that's mentioned in that book. And I'm like, success leaves breadcrumbs. Maybe if this guy's reading this book, I should read that book too. Boom, you
That's
read that
awesome.
book and you're like, that book was really good. And then another one comes up and then something unlocks and you're like, wait a second. You're telling me I can read books about anything that I want and enjoy it and learn and make myself better? The world went from
Yeah.
black and white to color. So now I became the
good.
architect of my own growth mindset just simply by reading for 30 minutes a day for 12 years.
Right. For 12 years. Right. But I mean, it has to start with that 1 30 minute a day. Like that's such an awesome tool that you're giving my audience right now, because I think that that's, so important that people understand that you're not in a competition with anyone else. What I love about everything you've said, Rob, is you're only comparing yourself to you the day before. Right. And that's
Well,
so important.
100%.
Yeah, that's so important because, I always say that, comparison is the thief of joy, right? You start to compare yourself to everybody else and you really don't think you're good enough, right? But I love that because I subscribe to what you're saying because I do the same. I don't compare with anyone. I don't care to. In the beginning, I did. And then I realized that how miserable I was. And so then I started to realize if I just do today a little bit better than I did yesterday, I'm in a good place, right? And so I like that you're saying that because I think that the people that you are working with, the people that you're inspiring right now, the people that you're speaking to right now that listen to the show, can take that away, like for real. I think one of the things that happens, Rob, and I don't know how you kind of navigate this with your clients, is this rush or anxiety to be there already, wherever there is, like people are not even looking at the journey. They just want to be there. How do you navigate that?
Whoa, you learn the hard way. So, boom, go to zero. And now I'm all in on my dreams.
Right.
So, I am so connected. Like my heart, literally, I'm waking up for the first time ever. And it's beautiful because it was a gift that I want to give everyone. And it is self-awareness that I woke up and I was like, I can wake up whenever I want. I can eat whenever I want. I can wear whatever clothes. I can work as long as I want. And with that gift, I was like, wait a second. I am now in control of every single aspect of my life. And now your mind is just racing at the number of things
Right.
you have to do, or as we evolve to, that you get to do. That now you're like, whoa, I get to do all of this different stuff. Let's adopt the same mindset. So now you get the opportunity to be intentional about when you wake up, when you go to the gym, who you're around. But one of the challenges in all of this is because you're so connected to what you love in your dreams, you want to be on the top of that mountaintop,
Right.
like today. And what I learned the hard way in years and years is that dreams and success are not getting to the top of the mountain. It is your ability to live and be present in the day by day, moment by moment.
Right.
Because creating your life that you dream of is actually just a series of micro moments. So I host a podcast called Best Year Ever. And it's like, how do you create the best year ever? It's actually the best month ever, week ever, day ever, hour ever,
That's
minute
right.
ever, moment ever. Because that's all it is. Because once you get to the top of the mountain, you look and you're like, oh, that was so amazing. Wait a second. There's another mountain over here
Right.
that I dream of doing. And
That's
boom,
right.
it starts over
So
again.
true. So
And
true.
you can't be living for just the one moment. You can have the dream and you can have culminations of things. And we're recording this the day after the Super Bowl. So certainly people have dreams of things that they want to accomplish. But if you can find a way every single day to say, today I'm living my dream, and my dream is the creation of everything towards that goal. So if you think of it more as a goal than a dream,
Yeah.
boom, it's a completely different way of thinking.
Yeah, that's good. So let me ask you this, because not everything is always like, like that positive and getting up thinking, because sometimes life hits you in the gut, right? So how do you navigate that? Like, what are your steps like when something like is really heavy on you, like this is a really big thing on my life. This is a real big challenge. I mean, you did go to zero a couple times, right? So those were hard times. I've been there. I know that. What did you do to navigate that? How do you set yourself up to keep on winning, I guess is the question. Because, Rob, life, right? Life comes and throws you another curveball, even when you're at the top of that first mountain that you wanted to get to. So what do you do to navigate all that and to keep putting yourself in that right frame of mind?
So as I've gotten wiser, I'm like, all right, what is going to serve me the most? So we're talking a lot about dreams and positivity and good stuff. But you know what I've actually become an expert in? Tough times.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite books is The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And I love it so much because it essentially says, what stands in the way becomes the way. So I knew on this journey of self-creation and entrepreneurship, it was not going to be a linear path of success. It was going to be a roller coaster of ups and downs literally every single day.
Yeah.
And I was acutely aware that the number one thing that would stop me from achieving my dreams is quitting. That so many people would give up.
Oh, that's
so
good.
Therefore, it made sense for me to say, if I know the thing that is going to stop me from living the best life that I want, well, I should probably specialize in making sure when that time comes that I'm not the one who quits, and actually I'm the one who thrives.
Right.
So
That's good.
all of a sudden, I'm like, I adopted this mindset of get comfortable being uncomfortable. And another way of saying this is prepare for what's difficult when it's easy. Because I think, and we certainly both experience this with clients, that comfortability is the enemy of greatness. That everybody loves how things are when the times are good. Let's just look back at what happened in the last 2 years where unexpectedly something happens in the world and you're like, whoa, I am not prepared for this. And then all of a sudden people start going in the other direction. Well, guess what? We all know tough times are going to exist in our life for the rest of our lives.
That's right.
So it would make sense for us to say, well, one, yes, I understand that it may be tough, but it's not going to define me. And I'm going to find a way to turn this into strength. And this actually saved my life. So I'm going to give you a brief story.
Yes, please.
I am running the Washington, D.C. Marine Corps Marathon, 5 years ago. And I trained for it. I'm athletic. I'm ready. Boom. I'm at fast forward to mile 25 and a half.
Oof.
I'm going to accomplish my goal by 3 minutes. I see the finish line. It's literally not even a mile away. I see the finish line. Boom. Next thing you know, I wake up completely packed head to toe in ice in a medical tent with a team of medics surrounding me saying, "Stay alive, Rob." That's how I snapped back into focus. 1 second, I'm about to accomplish one of the greatest things in my life. The next thing, I'm trying not to die. So I'm sitting there imagine being in like a tomb or a sarcophagus where like they just lay you there and I'm just can't move, head to toe in ice. All I have is my eyes literally just looking up at a tent. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here? No idea what's going on. And all I can do is listen. And I realize things are not good, as in like you might die not good.
Right.
So immediately my mindset kicks in and I'm like, and all of this has happened in micro moments. All right, what can I control? And I was like, I know if I'm speaking, I'm not dead, because I know that if my eyes go to black, I'm pretty sure I'm dead. So just speak. And if you speak, you're at least alive. So originally, I'm from Pittsburgh and I'm a big sports fan. So the only thing I could attach to is the Steelers are playing the Raiders. I'm a Steelers fan. And I said it over and over and over again. I'm a Steelers fan. And then eventually I changed it to I'm a fighter. I'm going to live. And I'm just speaking this out loud as many times as possible over and over and over and over again. And through all of this, I never panicked. I was never scared. And I was the most active listener I could conceivably be. because now I had to compute any instructions that any of these medics are saying to me in my scrambled brain of what's going on in the world. So I'm sitting there actively listening. I'm listening for good words so that it's like, not Rob's going to die, but like, okay, good. Like anything that I can hold myself to.
Wow.
And long story short, this took 20 minutes of me being on the verge of death. I had 107-degree body temperature and had a heat stroke almost on the finish line there. And my mindset saved my life because
I was gonna say that.
my ability to become self-aware, to not panic, because fear was not going to serve me. Fear, I was going to die. If I did not listen, I was going to die. If I did not speak mantras out loud, I was going to die. And to me, this is the ultimate testament of preparing for what's difficult when it's easy. So all of the times in which I'd already invested in my mindset for the 5+ years ahead of time, I didn't know that eventually I was going to maybe need that to die, to not die. But guess what? You want somebody who's already on fire for life to be more on fire for life? I was given a second chance at life because my mindset saved me. Other people would give up when the times got the toughest. For me, there is no time in the world harder than being thrown into a near-death situation where you're about to die.
Right. Wow, that's powerful. Wow, that's powerful, right? And then you think about just because you decided to start making micro changes in your life way back when, right? That's what you just said, saved you. And I think that is such a big testament to why people need to start with some self-development, some self-awareness. I mean, that's why I love like the audience that I serve too. I mean, they're always like DMing me and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, your guest today inspired me, blah, blah, blah. And I love that because you're listening, they're listening. And, you know, a lot of them are just in the beginning of this journey, right? So Rob, what was it for you? Like, how was that first client for you? How was that first moment for you? Did you realize you were like in your zone, in your game?
So my purpose in life is to be a positive force for good that leads others to what's possible. So I and you have seen the light. We have this gift in this way of being and showing up in the world that is so beautiful, because for over the last decade, I have woken up every single day. And the first thing that I say to myself is, today is going to be a great day. And I'm so thankful for every single day. And certainly post almost dying, I'm really thankful for every single day. And there's a presence and there's an energy and there's a way of being that is created for myself every single day when that is available. And guess what? All of this is available to all of us. All it is choice in action. And I want to give this gift to others. So I get so passionate about this and so passionate about helping other people because all of this is already inside us. Sometimes we're just not aware of certain things, like intention and awareness are very big for me. We're not some of my clients say, I've never thought about that, Rob. Or, oh, maybe I'll start doing this. So it's like, can we start building your mental and your heart house one brick at a time to where all of a sudden it's like, ooh, I learned this nugget. So like, take this, today is going to be a great day. Why in the world do I say it? Well, you just set the positive intention straight out of the gate that today is going to be a great day. I probably say it 4 or 5 more times in the first hour. Guess who has more great days than 99.9% of the people in the world? This guy. And guess what? How many of the things that we've talked about are simple and cost no money?
That's right. No, it's true. It's true. But, you know, also, I think one of the other blockages that we have, Rob, is this thing of not investing in ourselves too, right? Because yes, a lot of things are free. I agree with that. And I agree that you sharing value and knowledge like you are right now is totally free. Now everybody can take this and seriously start making action in their life, right? And I also believe that there is a time where you have to invest in yourself as well. And a lot of people don't want to do that. So they'll invest in a car, they'll invest in a house, they'll invest on vacation, they'll invest on all those other things to try to fix whatever it is they're trying to fix. But a lot of people have a hard time sometimes with investing in themselves, right? Do you find that?
Well, of course. So as you're saying this, I'm actually taking down notes because I love listening to language because I'm a master of language. So someone who comes to you and says, I want to fix, we're working
Yeah.
on the wrong plane. It's
Yeah.
about a lifestyle.
Right.
That's what you're creating for yourself. So I'm looking right now on my wall, and it says, happiness is not a destination. It is a way of life. So everything from the way that I live and all that I do is a lifestyle. It's habits, routines, lifestyle, way of being. This is not hard at all. Literally, this is the easiest thing in the world, and it is extremely fun. I love waking up in the morning and reading. I love journaling. I love meditating. I love working out. I love jumping on a podcast with you, Neena, and helping other people. Literally, if you can realize
awesome.
you can live a life of complete love, and you're the one who gets to self-create this. And then number two, so how in the world did I even get to this point of just saying that? Well, once again, let's go back to zero. And I'm like, all right, I know the journey ahead, it's going to be a roller coaster. And even if I make no money for the next year, there are two things no one can take from me. And this changed my life. Number one, what I learned. So if I invest in myself and what I learned, AKA reading 30 minutes a day or learning from coaches or podcasts or courses or programs or seminars, you name it, no one can ever take from you what you learn. You're like, oh, all right, well, even if I'm making $0, at least I got better today. Number two, no one can ever take from you your mindset, how you show up, and your outlook on life every single day. So now imagine Rob a decade ago bringing in $0, and he's like, well, you know what? Today was a great day. I didn't bring in any money, but I learned something. I was happy. I loved what I did. I shared some good vibes with some other people. I'm probably just going to rinse and repeat this again tomorrow and see what happens. And a crazy thing happens. Imagine if you just learn something and get better every single day, and you show up as a happy, loving, caring person every single day. Do you think good things are going to happen for you?
Of course.
I do.
Right. I do too. Rob, you have left so much great stuff on the table for us today. So I'm grateful for you and your time. I really am. And so I know that my audience is going to listen to be like, oh my gosh, who is this Rob guy? So give us where we could find you, like your website, your social media handles, all that great stuff where we can really like listen to you because you have your podcast as well. Now, do you do that as YouTube too, as a video as well? Or
I do everything. Okay. So number one, you can go to robcressy.com, and I actually came bearing gifts. So my morning routine has been paramount to the way that I've self-created myself. So I reverse engineered it and created a guide called Design Your Best Self, a guide to creating a morning routine that serves you. You can go to robcressy.com /morning. And what I did is said, here's the menu of what I use. You don't have to do any of these, but you can pick and choose and see if any of these work for you. Try it on for size. And that's how I think about self-growth and development. It's not do what everybody else says. It's more, let me try this out for a week and see what I think about it. So robcressy.com /morning. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Rob Cressy. Or you can listen to my podcast, Best Year Ever. Simple. Helps you design a year that is your best year ever. Every single day. It's a habit, routines, lifestyle. It's a way of being. Or hit me up, rob@robcressy.com. I would love to offer you the opportunity for us to be in conversation. I have a goal of helping 10 million people, and I would love for that to be you.
Oh man, Rob, thank you so much. I'm going to go right onto the podcast when we're done here to make sure I subscribe to that. That's amazing. So, and I love the morning routine as well. I'm going to check that out. But guys, you know that Rob has dropped up a lot of knowledge. I knew this was going to happen. I knew he was going to do that just by seeing his bio and his energy. I knew that was going to happen. So Rob, I'm really, really grateful for you and your time here. And I'm grateful of how you served my audience. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Neena. You're amazing, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you go on to robcressy.com. I'm going to make sure to link all of his bio and information below so you don't miss a thing. Because when we bring people on here that are amazing like this, you have got to support and follow. So thank you guys for watching. Neena Perez, Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.
This broadcast is brought to you by Winject Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.